Hello there, and a very warm welcome to another edition of Channels Beam. I am Victor Matthias. It was like a proverbial masquerade whose face would never be seen, but at long last, that masquerade has been unmasked by the Senate as the Senate President read out the list of ministerial nominees sent by President Muhammadu Buhari. One by one, they were revealed, most known, and a few making their debut on the national scene. However, mixed reactions have trailed these names, and that is our focus on the program today. But let's take a detour and look at top trends in the past week. Nigeria's most capped player, Vincent Enyeama, quit international football after a falling out with Super Eagles coach Sunday Olise following the announcement of CSKA Moscow forward Ahmed Musa as the country's new captain. Despite some setbacks in the fight against insurgency, the Nigerian army recorded some significant success after killing over 100 members of the dreaded Boko Haram sect, and Nigerians were happy and were congratulating the Nigerian army. Well, we will continue to support our troops in this fight till they succeed. But back to the discussion of the day, let's now meet our online contributors.
I'm not that impressed because the list I'm seeing so far, they are the same set of politicians we talk about that have destroyed Nigeria for the past 16 years. I mean, according to what Mr. President said, that is going to bring some decent and honest Nigeria. And if you are to appoint people of that caliber, I think the people we have seen so far, they are not the angels we'll be waiting for. So therefore, I think I'm so disappointed. I was expecting to see some Nigerians that maybe they might not necessarily be from APC, but Nigerians all over the world that can do the work very well, that without having any issue against them, because a lot of the people on the list, few are good, but what I'm seeing so far is like, it's not a ministerial list, it's a list of compensating. After you help me to win the election, this is your offer. That's what I see from that list.
Well, for me, it's a mixed bag opinion. I think that the president needs to be careful. He needs to be careful of his utterances and the weight they carry. When you have a president or a party which makes Nigerians believe that the whole idea of their governance style will be centered around the new change, you would expect naturally or ordinarily that whatsoever step that kind of a government takes, or whatsoever step that kind of a leadership takes, envisages the kind of change mantra or change and belief it wants us to be committed to. I have a few issues with the ministerial nominees. There are quite a number of good minds there. I mean, there are few Nigerians who have distinguished themselves in the private sector who I can honestly or moderately say, okay, people like the lady who works with the UN on MDGs, someone like the medical doctor from Edo State, and a few other guys there. But all in all, it's not exactly what I was looking for. I haven't been a very strong advocate of the Muhammadu Buhari presidency or campaigns then. I felt that he should have done better.
I'm not surprised about the list, though I expected more, but I'm not surprised. And that's because when the elections came in, though APC as a party presented Muhammadu Buhari as their candidate for the election, we operate a multi-party democratic system. As it stands, you as an individual cannot put your name, just stand as an individual candidate. You have to be on the platform of a party. And that's what happened in the last elections. APC, when you went to vote, you did not see Muhammadu Buhari on the ballot sheet, you saw APC. And APC as a party won the election, not Muhammadu Buhari himself, because although he was the candidate. And that's sort of like the reflection of what you see on the ministers list. And people kind of forget, but ministers in general is more of a political appointment rather than rather than otherwise, because lots of things you see in ministers, what you see in that list is some political calculations, some strategies being in place. You are seeing people already looking at the next elections and looking at a mixture of politicians and technocrats, adding that to the list. So I'm not really surprised with what happened, because though lots of people would have loved to see more, people have complained about the absence of more women in the list and then youth inclusion. But what you see there is people who have fought with the party, people who Buhari thinks he can trust to work with him. At the end of the day, the prerogative of appointing ministers lies with the president.
The president has to play politics. Whether we like it or not, this is a democratically elected government. There are people who he is beholden to. Why? Because they delivered the votes, and they are going to ensure that on the grassroots level, in their various constituencies, the president is going to have support. If what those people ask in return for their support is either a ministerial slot, an ambassadorial slot, or whatever other slot for themselves or for their proxies, if the president is going to be effective, he has to balance that with his desire to have competent people. So in other words, what we have right now is classic politics. He's brought in people who are competent in many regards, but who are also politicians. If he brings in people who only have exposure to a boardroom or a classroom or what have you, those people will fail, because it's very easy for politicians to whip up any sort of sentiment they want.
All right, guys, just hold it for a moment. We'll take a quick break and we will continue when we return after this short break. Please stay with us.